Senior Minister of State Zaqy Mohamad.
Mr. Chairman, Dr. Ng's speech underlined how we need not just the SAF, but all of society to support Singapore's defense against conventional and non-conventional threats. Total defense remains Singapore's best preparation and response to crisis. With every Singaporean organization, family, and individual playing a part through total defense, we can deter threats, overcome crisis, and emerge stronger from each test. MP1 Rizal asked about how total defense played a part in Singapore's fight against COVID-19. Our response to the pandemic is a good example of total defense in action. COVID-19 has upended businesses and industries, affected jobs, and disrupted the way we live. And together we have rallied whole communities, SAF, the public service, the Home Team, and many other agencies have worked hard to contain and manage the pandemic. Our people have stepped up in support, from retired doctors and nurses to national servicemen participating in COVID-19 operations. Community and religious groups, volunteers, and the everyday resident made efforts to reach out to those who are more affected, such as retrenched workers, lower-income families, and the elderly. Some even played their part to debunk misinformation and scaremongering on social media. The result is that we have been able to keep our community safe, keep infections and hospitalizations low. We are in a better position today to reopen our borders and restart our economy, and hopefully host major international events such as the Shangri-La Dialogue and the World Economic Forum later this year. Working together has moderated the impact of COVID-19 and strengthened the resolve and cohesiveness of our society, not just in dealing with COVID-19, but for future threats too. Now, this is total defense in action, a demonstration of what we can achieve with the pillars of military, civil, economic, social, psychological, and digital defense, all working in concert. In total defense, there are many everyday heroes and heroines. I've been privileged to meet many of them. One such person is National Serviceman Lieutenant Karthikeyan, son of Natarajan, an air warfare officer from the Republic of Singapore Air Force. During Karthikeyan's full-time national service, he volunteered to serve at the SAF-led Medical Operations Task Force. He meticulously verified the records of thousands of workers, ensuring that they would be transported, housed, and cared for at the right facilities. What struck me about Karthikeyan was his strong sense of duty. He extended his national service commitments for 8 months, so that he could continue to contribute to Singapore's fight against COVID-19 and watch over Singapore's skies. Another such person is Military Expert 4A, NS Muhammad Nur Hafiz bin Jumaat, a 34-year-old NS man from the Singapore Army's 8th Combat Support Hospital. Last year, Nur Hafiz volunteered to serve as a nursing officer at the Singapore Expo Community Care Facility during his in-camp training. Nur Hafiz took care of the migrant workers, pulling 12-hour shifts to ensure their well-being and facilitated their recovery. He even missed the first week of Hari Raya. Nur Hafiz said, and I quote, "The sacrifice was worth it, as it was not only for our loved ones and the nation, but also to care for the migrant workers who are in need of our medical care and support during this critical period." Today, Nur Hafiz is a senior staff nurse at the Sengkang General Hospital and continues to contribute tirelessly at the front lines. These contributions, along with so many others, demonstrate how Singaporeans have gone beyond their call of duty to help others during this pandemic. They exemplify the spirit of total defense. Every action, no matter how big or small, counts in our fight against COVID-19. Mr. Chairman, even as we focus on recovering and emerging stronger from COVID-19, we must remember the threats facing Singapore are never completely eliminated. We must therefore continue to emphasize total defense to prepare Singapore for the threats of today and tomorrow. Pillar by pillar, we must strengthen each of them so that they are even more ready and resilient. Take, for example, the military defense pillar. I echo SMS Heng, who shared our efforts to transform NS for the next generation SAF. NS is the foundation of our military defense. As we continue to transform NS, we must continue to strengthen social, societal, business, and family support for military defense and NS. This way, we can continue to motivate our servicemen to do their best as they defend Singapore. Last year, I was pleased to welcome new members to the Advisory Council on Community Relations in Defence, or what we know as Accord. The new Accord is well placed to provide fresh perspectives that will enhance its work to strengthen societal support for national service and defence, with members that hail from diverse backgrounds. The Council includes representatives from the banking, logistics, technology and e-commerce fields, such as new member Mr. Kwek Suri, CEO of Carousel, on board. Accord also welcomes new members from youth-oriented organizations, such as Ms. Tan Si Ling, Executive Director of Hardware Network, and Ms. Samantha Ng, National Youth Council Inspirit Youth Leader. MP Yeo Wan Ling asked about the focus areas for the new Accord term. Accord members have identified a few, including stepping up engagement with youth and women on defence and national service issues, raising public appreciation for NS men, and employee recognition of the skills that they gain from national service. To enhance outreach, Accord is pushing for more digital engagement channels. MINDEF SAF has begun working with Accord to put these new plans into action, and Accord members themselves have led some of these initiatives. One example of digital engagement was a well-received webinar hosted last year by Accord member and director of Mums at Work, Ms. Shirley Torrey, for mothers with sons entering NS. The mothers gained insights into what their sons can expect from NS and were assured that their sons would be well taken care of. They also provided useful feedback for us to consider, and we will work with Accord to organize more such webinars on a larger scale this year. For parents whose sons are liable for NS, a visit to the Basic Military Training Centre, or BMTC, is important to understand what their children will go through. Due to COVID-19, such visits had to be temporarily discontinued. In its place, from September last year, we piloted virtual visits to BMTC. More than 180 families got to explore the BMTC via an online video and engage in a virtual dialogue with senior commanders. Many families said that the visit gave them a better understanding of NS training and felt that their sons' safety would be well looked after. MINDEF will soon expand these virtual BMTC visits to a wider group, including Singaporean families residing overseas. Besides going digital, we will develop other channels and more creative ways to engage Singaporeans on NS and total defense. Here I'm happy to announce that a fully revamped Singapore Discovery Centre, or SDC, will be open at the end of this year. The refreshed SDC will be a one-stop destination for visitors to learn and experience Singapore's history and imagine its future in a fun and immersive way. SDC reopened partially last October, enabling visitors to experience the augmented reality enhanced exhibits in the upper gallery that provide a cinematic journey into Singapore's history. When the renovations are completed, SDC will unveil a refreshed lower gallery on contemporary issues confronting Singapore. The public can look forward to more interactive features that encourage visitors to envision Singapore's future through group activities, discussions, and AR-enhanced exhibits. Visitors will go away with a better appreciation of what we are defending against potential challenges confronting Singapore. The SDC will also expand its outreach through new programs for different groups, such as students, youth, national servicemen, and members of community organizations. A new Friends of SDC volunteer group will also be formed to tap on the energies of volunteers. For example, individuals passionate about sharing our Singapore story can sign up as volunteer guides for the galleries. We will continue to strengthen all the pillars of total defense through collaboration with our partners. MP Patrick Tay had asked about digital defense, which was added 2 years ago, and we have been working to strengthen Singapore's defenses against cyber and disinformation attacks, which can be particularly damaging to our community, especially in crises like COVID-19. We have collaborated with our partners to develop educational programs on digital defense to increase Singaporeans' understanding of digital threats and equip them with skills to detect and deal with fake news. One such example is our collaboration with the Singapore University of Social Sciences, or SUSS, to introduce the topic of digital defense in a module on digital transformation. Following a successful pilot with SUSS in 2020, we will work with Accord to reach out to other universities to potentially introduce digital defense into relevant course modules. Another example is our collaboration with SkillsFuture Singapore, National Library Board, and the Cybersecurity Agency of Singapore to add a digital defense component to the SkillsFuture for the Digital Workplace program. This is currently being offered at 19 institutions, including polytechnics and the ITE. So we are certainly expanding our reach. Through these programs, we will continue to encourage actions that Singaporeans can take to be secure and responsible online, strengthen our defenses against online falsehoods that threaten to divide our people. There have been suggestions to add new total defense pillars, such as the biological defense pillar or a climate defense pillar, as MP Seah Kian Peng and MP Don Wee have suggested. Now, we agree that pandemics and climate change are both serious threats that require concerted responses by government, businesses, communities, and individuals. We can take efforts on preparedness, actions, and resilience in the physical, digital, and psychological realms. Be it to address climate change or biological threats, we believe that the existing concept and pillars of total defense are relevant and can be put into action. For now, we will focus on the present 6 pillars and incorporate pandemic responses and environmental sustainability themes where appropriate within each pillar. So what is more important is that we act and our actions translate into impact. This is why the government has been strengthening our infectious disease infrastructure. And we've just announced the Singapore Green Plan 2030 that we are all committed to. On our part, MINDEF is fully committed in supporting these efforts. Earlier, Dr. Ng announced our plan to upgrade our facilities within the Defence Science Organisation, or DSO, to the highest biosafety level 4, and MINDEF's efforts on environmental sustainability. These are not small, these are major moves that we are making within MINDEF. Here I would add that the revamped SDC will have a sustainability theme in its infrastructure and programs. And these include the deployment of over 2,000 solar panels to generate power for about half of SDC's electrical consumption, as well as new education programs on urban farming and sustainability for the public. MP Zulkarnain Abdul Rahim asked about how MINDEF will support and empower more Singaporeans to play a greater role in total defense as we emerge from COVID-19. We will do so by encouraging Singaporeans to be more active in conversations about defence and NS issues. And it is for this reason that we launched 2 series of engagements last year, strengthening commitment to defence and total defence for a future Singapore, in conjunction with the Singapore Together Emerging Stronger conversations. In these sessions that I attended, participants shared with me that COVID-19 had reinforced the importance of NS and total defence in preparing Singapore for crisis. Many of our youth felt it. They felt the change. They felt the commitment. And I'm heartened by their valuable suggestions to strengthen the public's commitment to NS and total defence. Their opinions demonstrate the determination and their will to shape Singapore's future and protect its well-being. We will hold more engagements this year to reach out to more people on NS and total defence. MP Zulkarnain asked about how MINDEF would take the outcomes of our public engagements forward. Now, this is an important question too. We are excited to embark on the suggestions raised. Some will be taken through accords, such as developing fresh content on how our national servicemen have contributed to the COVID-19 national response. And we hope that this showcases the invaluable skills and efforts by our national servicemen and inspires others who have yet to serve national service. We are also exploring forming or tapping on the Singapore Together Alliances for Action, or AFAs, that will bring together stakeholders from the government, businesses, and community to follow up on initiatives to strengthen total defence and all our support for national service. Mr. Chairman, I would like to end by quoting a thank you note addressed to all national servicemen who contributed to our COVID-19 operations. Then a primary 6 student from Nan Chiau Primary School, Ms. Lin Yitong, wrote this note last year, and I quote, "Thank you, Mr. Soldier. I appreciate everything you have done for the nation to fight the virus. Thank you for your sacrifices. Let's all stay strong and fight the virus. You are the best." I echo Yitong's words of appreciation, determination, and hope. We thank our servicemen and every Singaporean for their contributions in the fight against COVID-19. Your actions have shown that with everyone doing their part for total defence, we will emerge stronger from this crisis of our generation and with greater confidence in our future. This is why we continue to invest in total defence, to best prepare for, to respond to, and to recover from any crisis. We will continue to build total defence into every Singaporean's DNA to meet the threats of today and tomorrow. Together, we will keep Singapore strong for now and for future generations to come. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.